It's day 5 already. That's right, it's December 5th, which means we are 20 days away from Christmas Day. The Grinch is here, I'm sure loaded up with some more insults today. Because of you, everyone is calling me pork chop now, so thank you.
Oh, is that my fault? I'm so sorry.
So what's it gonna be today? Pork chop, spaghetti face, what do we have?
You know, since we're only 20 days from Christmas, I'm going to be nice.
Well, that's kind of refreshing. I like that, no more insults.
Yes, I see you're drinking from the moose mug from one of your favorite Christmas movies.
That's exactly right, Grinch. Today we're gonna talk about Christmas Vacation, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Pork chop.
I'm sorry, what? So Christmas Vacation is loaded with so many great characters, including Cousin Eddie, of course, Clark Griswold, and a bunch of others. But one of my favorite characters in the movie is Aunt Bethany. She charmingly says the blessing, and she also does the Pledge of Allegiance towards the end of the movie. But did you know Mae Questel, who plays Aunt Bethany in Christmas Vacation, started her career way back in 1931. She was the original voice of the Betty Boop cartoon. Also, she was the voice for Olive Oyl in the Popeye cartoons.
Oh, that's fascinating. What else do you have?
Did you know out of all the vacation movies, Christmas Vacation is the only one that had its own sequel? That's right.
Pork chop.
But many people, what? So the follow-up to Christmas Vacation happened in 2003 with National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation 2, Cousin Eddie's Island Adventure. Basically, the story is Eddie and Catherine being stranded on an island in the South Pacific for the holidays, and yes, it actually was made, although it only appeared on TV. Lastly, even though it was a comedy Christmas movie, Christmas Vacation actually had a pretty big budget, a $27 million budget to be exact, which was pretty high considering that the film had no special effects, like Ghostbusters, which was made for $30 million. But even with that said, the budget was just fine because the movie went on to make $70 million at the time.
Yes, I'm a big fan of Cousin Eddie myself.
Yeah, I think
Pork chop.
I can hear you. What's up, folks? I'm Jason C, and welcome back to the Mash and Drum here on day 5 of the Advent Calendar for 2024. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and make sure you help me keep climbing to that 100,000 subscriber milestone here in 2024 and into 25. Appreciate the support. So if this is your first time watching the 2024 Advent Calendar, this is how it works. Last month, I asked 25 of my patrons to send me 25 blind samples for the second year of the Mash and Drum Advent Calendar that I have named How Much Would I Pay? Mash and Drum Advent Calendar Countdown to Christmas Day. So each day I will open up said blind sample, nose it, taste it, maybe guess proof, guess age, guess the whiskey, and ultimately determine how much I would pay for the whiskey based on what I'm tasting. After I name the price I would pay for it, I will reveal the sample in this envelope and compare my price to the actual price. So the 5th sample in my Advent Calendar for 2024 comes from Adam McIntyre. Thanks so much for sending the sample along. Let's get it poured. All right, so a little bit of a lighter whiskey here, but pretty good color. All right, let's dive in. Let's see what we got. This is really sweet on the nose, getting a lot of powdered sugar here. There's definitely a marshmallowy sweetness going on here, which makes me think maybe it's something toasted. But yeah, off the nose, I'm thinking bourbon. I'm thinking not super old, probably around that 6 to 7 year old mark. And it could be a toasted product. So let's give it a try. Here we go. That's actually very rich on the palate. It's got a great texture to it. I am sticking with bourbon. I do think it's a bourbon. On the palate, not sure if I feel like it's toasted. I don't tend to lean towards a lot of toasted products, but this is giving me a little bit of a smoky note on the back end of it, like on the finish. So maybe that is giving me kind of a toasted type of vibe, I think, maybe. I know, I'm doing another sip of this one. It's very sweet. This is straight up like marshmallow, vanilla cake batter, vanilla icing. It's very vanilla heavy. It's very sweet. When I have stuff like this sweet, it kind of makes me think of like Buffalo Trace, but this doesn't, the finish on this isn't really coming off like Buffalo Trace. It's coming off a little bit more drying. And as I bring the glass to my nose, man, this is like straight up butter pecan ice cream now. What is this? This is so good. Man, that icing is really heavy. Jeez. This is gonna sound weird, but it's kind of taking me back to some like old ice cream shops I used to go to growing up with, and I don't know if I've seen this topping anymore. It's called wet walnuts, where it's like walnuts that are like kind of seeped in like a sugary, sweet, almost toffee, butterscotchy type of syrup, and you would pour that on your ice cream. That is what this is smelling like. All right, so I'm guessing type. I think this is a bourbon. Age, I'm guessing this is around 6-7 years old. I don't think there's a ton of age to it. Proof, I'm gonna say, I don't think it's a high proof point. It's somewhere between 100 and 110. I know it's a big gap, but I feel like it's right in that. I'll just say 105-ish to kind of keep it right in the middle of that range. Is it finished? That's a good question. I know it's got such a heavy sweetness to it, and like that crazy wet walnut note. I feel like it's something toasted, maybe. I'll just stick with a toasted bourbon and see if that rings true, but I'm getting just these really sweet notes. It's very vanilla icing forward, marshmallowy, but like that walnut like buttery glaze to it that it has. It's just really delicious. And what would I pay for this? I don't know. I kind of dig this bottle because this kind of plays to kind of like my butterscotchy, butter pecan like type of note that I really like to find in whiskey. So this doesn't have a super ton of depth to it, but I just like the flavors it has. And for that, I would pay about $60-65 for it. All right, let's find out what Adam McIntyre sent. Here we go. Let's see how close I was or if I was completely off. I'm wondering if it was toasted. So let's see. Oh, how did I not guess this? This makes so much sense. I feel like I should have gotten this. This is Pursuit United Double Oaked Bourbon. So this is a bourbon that Pursuit United released this year, and I remember when I first tasted it, I remembered how sweet it was. It was vanilla icing butterscotch candy in a glass. And while that has some of that, I feel like this one is a little bit richer, maybe because I haven't had it in a little bit, but it does say this is the Kentucky Bourbon Festival 2024 single barrel. So that makes total sense. So it's a little bit richer, a little bit darker. Now it isn't NAS, so we're not really sure how old this is, but I think 6 to 7 years would probably be in the ballpark. I said 105 proof, I kept it in the middle, but it's 108 proof. This is batch 2CE B02. As far as like the stats I got, I did guess it was finished, although I said toasted, but it is double oaked. And I think with everything else, I got pretty close. So I did pretty good on this one. Although I am disappointed I didn't guess the Pursuit United double oaked, because now, the double oaked bourbon in particular, because now it all comes like flooding back to me. And even though this is a double oaked bourbon single barrel, if you guys like those really, really sweet like types of flavors, the double oaked bourbon from Bourbon Pursuit is going to be something you're going to want to check out, because it literally tastes like straight up cake and vanilla icing. This one has a little bit more depth to it. I haven't really gotten that walnut note, and I think that's what threw me off, but otherwise, that's a great sample, man. Thanks, Adam. All right, guys, well, hope you enjoyed day 5 here on the Master Drum Advent Calendar for 2024. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that subscribe button below. Please hit the like button, and if you haven't yet, follow me on Instagram. Let me know down in the comments if you've had this one before. Like I always say, it's not about the whiskey, it's the people you share with. Cheers, and we'll see you tomorrow, Grinch. Cheers, folks.